Welcome back to NC State Dendrology. I'm coming to you today from Pilot Mountain State Park, which I believe is in Stokes County, up near the Virginia line. And Pilot Mountain is what we call a monadnock, so a pinnacle of rock, and I don't have a good view from where I am, but it's above my head, that stands out around from the surrounding Piedmont, which is fairly flat. And so this is a very dry kind of forest. There are lots of pines. It's quite rocky, so there's not a lot of soil depth. And these are also fire adapted environments. And the species I'm here to talk about is pitch pine. So this is Pinus rigida, in the Pinaceae, of course. And a couple of things about identifying pitch pine. So first of all, the needles are long. They're not as long as loblolly pine, probably closer to the length of shortleaf. But unlike shortleaf pine, they have 3 needles per fascicle. So if you haven't looked at pines before, the needles on southern pines are grouped in these little bundles. So these are called fascicles. And pitch pine, Pinus rigida, has 3 needles per fascicle. And you can see they're a little bit longer than my longest finger. So there's that identifying character. And the cones are small and kind of rounded. So this is a little bit small. You can see it's not especially armed. It doesn't have the prickles like some of our other pines. So the cones are about as long as they are wide. So when they open out, they look kind of round on the tops of the trees. And then the thing that I want to really point out about pitch pine that makes it easy to identify, it has this, it has kind of a gnarly form. So it can grow in these rocky habitats. It's also the most common pine found in the pine barrens of New Jersey. And it has this feature called epicormic branching. And what that means is it has needles that are growing out directly from the trunk. And so there are buds underneath the bark that enable it to resprout. And so that is a fire adaptation. This is a fire adapted species, and it's adapted not to survive fire, but to reproduce with fire. So Pilot Mountain is sticking above the Piedmont, so it is susceptible to fire. We just had a fire here in 2021, and it was pretty catastrophic. And so this tree, rather than starting over again with a brand new root system, can just resprout from the trunk. And so all around, especially in the areas that were most hard hit by the 2021 fire, and then before that in 2013, you'll see these trees with needles growing straight out of the trunks. And that's a very unusual characteristic. Like I said, that's called epicormic branching. So that's a really good character to know this pine by. Pitch pine is found in the mountains of North Carolina at the higher elevations. I would say, well, not even higher. I'd say 2,500 feet up to maybe 3,500 feet. Here at Pilot Mountain, we're right about at 2,400 feet. That's on the top of the pinnacle. And so it's found in the mountains of North Carolina, and also these scattered localities where it's got this very dry, lightning prone, rocky soil substrate. So that's pitch pine, Pinus rigida, in the Pinaceae, and this is NC State Dendrology. Thanks for tuning in.